すみません、配信開始前の広田さんのアナウンスはなしで、配信が始まってから高尾さんの、ご説明から始まるでお願いします。
岡本さんの Q で、
はい、岡本さんの Q から高尾さんのアナウンスでお願いいたします。
こんにちは。
Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. From here on, this is about the boot camp that we are working on currently, and we are working on at CCBT, Civic Creative Base. We are on Future Ideation Camp Vol.2, and for today, we have a keynote lecture, which will be performed by You-Sheng Zhang and eziraros from Taiwan. They would be lecturing on art and beyond, the dynamics of volume DAO. So with You-Sheng Zhang and eziraros, they will be performing the keynote lecture regarding the volume DAO. They are a group mainly working in Taiwan, and they are performing very unique activity in Asia. Today, we would like to listen how the activity is done by the Volume DAO, or how DAO became creation of their platforms, and how they are realized their activities. And because their activity is so unique, we do not find in similar activities in Japan, and we would like to explore much from You-Sheng and eziraros. Would you like to start, please? Hello, everybody. My name is You-Sheng Zhang from DAO. I'm the co-founder of Volume DAO. And hello. I will restart again. This is You-Sheng Zhang, co-founder of Volume DAO. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak with you together. And we are working for creativity and co-creation. I would like to share with us our practices, and thank you very much for your invitation from the CCBT, and I'm also very thankful to Mr. Takai. So we are going to be delivering this keynote lecture from myself, You-Sheng Zhang, and eziraros. So first I will open up the discussion, and then followed by eziraros. Today, what we are going to be speaking about is titled under Art and Beyond, the Dynamics of Volume DAO. And if you will be following up with us until the very end, we would like to talk about the beyond meaning the interaction between our members. So we would like to become beyond over creators. It is something difficult to do, however, those are the leading dynamics of ourselves and of our activity, meaning that it is the interactions and collaborations between the artists, and that itself is becoming in dynamics. And let us introduce ourselves. First of all, for myself, I work as an creator in music. So it has been a music, and it was called Kandala Records. That was the name of the brand. And yesterday, when Mr. Ito shared the YKM, I heard the name of Otomo-san and other people too. And they are well-known people within Taiwan. So for the new media and music, I was able to get acquaintances with Japan. Therefore, I had been assimilating within the Japanese music front. And I myself, at the same time, I have been studying for political science, and I've been acquiring PhD and have been graduating the University of Taiwan. Before that, I've been researching on cryptocurrency and have been making transactions after graduating and then garnering my PhD. I have been first working for the Kandala Records and then went into critic of performing arts. And focusing on other area, I also focused as a critic of performing art too. That was in 2021. And in 2021, based on my experience of the cryptocurrency, and at the same time, that year was the year where NFT was generated. And based on the curation of records and critics, I have been integrating that into today's activity, meaning that Volume DAO was created, co-founded at 2021. And if you recall, in 2021, it was the hottest time of the crypto and NFT. And I would like to share with you how we were born, the Volume DAO. Yesterday, we heard Mr. Fujihata talk, and I would like to link my talk with him because his lecture was so fantastic, and I've been so impressed with what Mr. Fujihata had to say. He started his talk from talking about civic and democracy, technology, and public space. And lastly, he mentioned about his art piece. And I've learned so many things from what he had to say yesterday. And so following Fujihata-san's trend, I would like to follow from a language. Thus, this language or the word is Volume DAO. And after I started engaging with the CCBT, CCBT brought the documents like Camp Volume 1, Camp Volume 2. So there was always a word of volume, and the word volume had a feeling that I know this word already. It's a deja vu. And Volume DAO is always having this word volume created, embedded inside. Therefore, that was a deja vu for us. So VOL, that's a symbolic signature for us, and we think that this is a coincidence, but it goes very well with the Volume 1 and Volume 2 that the CCBT always uses. And thinking about the word volume, it's always about the volume of books. So in book, it could be Volume 1, Volume 2, so meaning that it's one of the versions embedded within the book. It could be also expressing a collection. So meaning within Volume DAO is also collecting many art works. So that is also synchronizing. The other one is the volume, what you are listening to, meaning that if you volume up, you can hear louder voices and vice versa. Yesterday, Fujihata-san mentioned about the people in the mass and the public space. He mentioned about the Italian park which was in Japan, in Shibuya. He has been mentioning the word parco was utilized, which comes from an Italian word. And the volume or the sound of the voice is so important about the voices of the people representing people's idea. And everybody here has so different backgrounds. So everybody means that they have a different sound and volume of their opinion. Sound media artists or sound artists are existing, or else those creating audiovisual books or sound artists, or these people are related to sounds and volume. Therefore, the volume DAO group has a very deep synchronicity with sound too. And from here on, I would like you to see our members. And there's flippers, meaning that there are some people who purchase their production, but then they sell it off early, or else there are teachers and designers and others. And this is myself, but I would like to skip because everybody else is so fantastic. This is Koyoki, and they are here today. And he is very much near here. This is Sandwiches Studio. And this person himself comes from a background of architecture. And after that, at his research organization, he is leading a same sort of work. Sandwich Studio is through design contributing the public art space to help out the vulnerables and the weak. So if you do go through his or their exhibition, so when you usually go to exhibition, it's probably the case with you that there's lengthy, a difficult way of explaining the exhibition, explaining the artist and their artwork. However, they are to make their definitions very simple so that everybody understands, and the barrier-free exhibition is what they are working on. They are also working on visual guidance, meaning that if people have some impairment in visuality, people will be also enjoy exhibition. And those, sorry, I don't have the photographs. However, this Shi-Tong has an open contemporary studio which he runs, and already this has been ongoing for 20 years or more. These days, frequently they are interacting with the Southeast Asian artists. And it's not just about exhibitions, and it is an interaction between artists, and their interaction is going beyond art, but even within their lives, it takes. And the other one is called Mash Bean. I'm sorry, the spelling is wrong, but this is Mish Bean. And he is working on Fab DAO. And they are also working on collection digital work. Our direction is slightly different from theirs, but Bottom DAO is also working for a Fab DAO. They work as an NGO public. So they work and focus on public arts too. This is 5DAO. These are the arts that we have been creating for them.
You see the mountain landscapes. There are 100 landscapes of mountains and ridges. And the sales will be paid to Fab DAO. And utilizing that capital, Fab DAO will organize public projects. And this gentleman, Waspi, he's into blockchain and Web3. He discusses these topics as we collaborate with him, we found that he is interested in LTAC. New topics are often discussed, of course, in Chinese language. Another member I'd like to introduce is Chad Xu, C2 by 3. So by X is pronounced Chad. Newspapers are actually edited by this organization. The news is usually centered around blockchain. And it's not just blockchain. It could be related to art ecology, to different degrees. News articles deal with different events in that area. What organizations are collecting NFTs, what artists are releasing new works. In May this year, in Shibuya, the Prime Tokyo was taken as an article. Another member is Shansai Okana in Japanese. She's a member of the group, and she also runs her own organization named Tezos. She belongs to another blockchain. The fees are usually cheap, and this specific organization is preserving environment. Those who are not versed in blockchain are attracted to join this organization, Tezos Taiwan. There is Telegram, Facebook that are connected to this organization. So this organization is so much into the environmental conservation. I'd like to introduce another member, R11. I'm pretty sure that many of you know this artist. R11 is a member of Vol.2 now. Akas is based on Tezos blockchain. He is the NFT blockchain director. He has released many artworks. He's a very famous person. There is no need to explain who he is. There are many others, but because of the constraint of time, I just want to introduce LTY, Sound of Artist in Taiwan. This is really the Lost Voice Festival in literary means. For the past 15 years, this event has been organized every year. When I was a sound artist, I actually introduced my work at this festival, Lost Sound Festival. I also wrote critic articles. I collaborated with this event. In Vol.2, as I said, there are diverse members who may have music background, those who have over 10 years of experience. Web3 natives are also members. When they encounter Web3, they are attracted by blockchain and started creating art. Well, some of these are Web3 artists. Now I'd like to introduce my partner, who is going to introduce his own works. This April and May at Taipei Museum, there was the exhibition held, and he's going to talk about that exhibition as well. So let me introduce eziraros. Hello, good evening, everyone. At this time of night, thank you for staying for this session. I'm pretty sure all of you are tired, but thank you so much for being here. Let me now continue to talk about my work as generative artist. back then when I did not use NFTs, and also what happened after I joined Volume DAO. So let me introduce myself. I was designing home pages and doing creative coding over 15 years. These are some of my old works. It's not that I started out with creation using NFTs. Back then, I was attracted by OpenSea and HEN. How these organizations are operated, somebody upload image, and that image will be placed on sale. But I wasn't interested. But one of my friends introduced me to NFTs. R1, my longtime friend in Taiwan. I think he is one of the very first artists who started to use NFTs in Taiwan. And he is the one who uploaded his work to art blocks for the first time in Taiwan. For a year or so, every day in his Facebook, he talked about NFTs, how wonderful NFTs could be. He uploaded this image one day, NFT platform for generative artists. This is a ranking of generative artists. In top 20 artists, 5 of them are Taiwanese. So this really shows Taiwanese are very good at creating generative art. And I just wondered if that could be true. So I had to look each one of these artists. By checking each artist, my concept on NFTs completely changed. How did it change? In the past, when to upload our work to OpenSea, you have to create many of these images, and then you have to make selections. And then up to the platform, you upload them, and you try to sell. When you want to sell, your ownership will be transferred to the purchaser's wallet. And that's the conventional way of selling art in blockchain. But long-form generative art is different. If you use this, you simply upload your work as a package. So once a package is uploaded, you get the cover page. So the purchaser cannot see what's inside the package. Just randomly, platform will apply codes. And then the ownership is transferred to the wallet of the purchaser. So every time a purchase is made, the result will be different. By having this system, the author or the artist won't be able to control what they want to sell. It will be up to the luck or the mechanism of purchase that is chosen by a buyer. And this is what is great about generative art. In other words, it's randomness. So let's see what are some of the NFTs on sale. I've created 3 URLs, and I uploaded the URLs without telling anybody, but I was able to sell my work. This made me really happy. I never expected to be able to make a sale out of my artwork there, and I created 3 other works. Whether the market is going to like my art, I thought about that. Maybe the market does not like the animation. Maybe still image is better. I gave a lot of thought. maybe too much thought to that. So I decided to make a phone call to R11 and ask for advice. And he gave me just simple advice. He said, stop practicing. Spend more time to create your work, authentic work.
I was so inspired by what he had to say. And one day I coincidentally found an octopus picture. A person like me looking at such photograph, we would start thinking of a coding, and I created this. This is coding after 3 hours, 8 hours, and day 5. So I coded all these different time lapse, and these were the movements of the lapse. So there were 111 octopus photographs and art work performed. And after this, I was able to be recognized by many. With this, I was invited from Volume DAO whether I wanted to participate in Volume DAO. So that is how I came to work with Volume DAO. So for the Volume DAO, 1/3 are collectors, and within the collectors, there are some type of collectors who will never let their purchased goods let go, or else others will be reselling as a collector. And by their preference and their style, there are collectors keeping up with their collections on their style. Before I created different pieces, I collected opinions from 3 different categories of collectors in order to understand their needs. Whether it be good or bad, I try to listen to these collectors' voices, and more than half of a person within the DAO is generative artists. And here, let me explain simply, but I will not go into the depth of introducing their artworks. So you know that all the artists have different styles. And within this group of DAO, I would like to explain and introduce how we communicate. So first, let's look at Aluwan Wang. Aluwan has 2 platforms to exhibit his work, and this is Ling. And this is for the RDocs and the other platform. This is by Wen. Wen has been placing the topic on the ripple of the raindrops. This is a collaboration piece. Within our group, we coordinate to create pieces. And this is within the Discord, interactive. I would like you to take a look. Everybody has different roles to be assigned. So looking at the left-hand side bottom, you see a beginner. And this beginner will be practicing how to make his opinion within the group. And the chatting is also important. Therefore, we ask people to chat more. And when there's a chat generated, this personnel starting the chat will be given a point. And it does seem meaningless. However, with giving points to those who started off the conversation, they start more conversing. We don't focus on the contents of the chat or anything about rudeness or not, or whether the comments are truly respectful or not. But without thinking of those issues, we rather ask people to chat even more. And with giving the points, people are more active in giving out opinions. And as a result, we are now very open with exchanging. So, for instance, this is an art piece called Balanced, and this is one of the series that the group people likes. And within the group, one of the member has purchased one piece, and this person bought this art work, and there was a written chat. What is this? And from our member, it seems very unique. And there are similarities between two works. That was what we thought. It started looking to us like a generative toy, and with that word, I was inspired. First, within the chat, there were some jokey comments. However, with these two artwork, I wanted to, so I declared I am going to make another work based on these two artwork, and then that led me to creation of this shape study. So that is all for the introduction of the artwork. And the collector, the red eye, who is a collector who have been collecting this artwork. This collector is mainly focused on reselling his purchased goods. And he developed a tool in order to resell the works, and he shared that platform with us too. He's originally an engineer, but gradually he started creating arts. These two art pieces is created by this engineer, former engineer, and these two art has already been sold. He's a unique person. And New Yellow, this is another member. A New Yellow and creative artist. He's a university professor too, and leading the mix lab for the artist creators, and he also makes critiques on arts. His art work is my favorite works too, and this was purchased by this professor. And there was a work opportunity for the professor, and he had another appointment to perform. Therefore, he has been giving me the job for me to perform, and this led me to work with the Asian University and Delta Company, and along with them, along with FabDAO too, we have been working on a series to protect the coral reef. And these are responding to various different types of coral reefs. And when 4 artwork is purchased by one person, the 5th artwork is going to be a gift to the purchaser, and the 5th art of the coral reefs will be colored in various colors. And for me, I thought that this idea or ideation came from the shape study. And when this is sold, 60% comes to me, and the remainder will go and channeled into the organization. The organization had the profit will be using this profit money in order to restore and conserve the coral reefs. And after completion, one environmental conservation activist has been approaching me, and he has been providing me an offer if we can work together. And with this has been leading to the next piece titled Turtle Vision, meaning to protect the sea turtles. We've been focusing on the plastic waste that is just waiting along the sea. And turtle does not know whether the plastic is seaweed or not. And by them eating up the plastics, thinking that it's a seaweed, it will make them die. And as you can enjoy from what I am showing, you can see that jellyfish and plastic bags is difficult to differentiate. And such a scene can be seen often within the ocean. The mechanism of selling this piece is very simple. And once it is purchased and sold, 1/3 goes to the ocean environment, 1/3 comes to me, and 1/3 goes into the platform. And coming back to the group member, for the 3D part,
there is one thing that I'd like to talk about, the membership. I made a shift from 2D to 3D work, thanks to Even. And he was trying to teach Jennifer about how to make 3D work, and he decided to share that teaching with me. So online lessons started. For about 2 months or so, he taught 3 of us the technology to create 3D artwork. So my next work is shown as Proof of X. The message of the work is based on the inspiration that I get from Taiwanese architecture. Proof of X and Kuma Leon and FX collaboration made it possible. What I like to talk about here is that the revelation that I had as a creator, when I'm working alone and when I am collaborating with other members, there are differences there. If you want to earn your living with art, you don't have to worry about others or teamwork, your connection with people. I am not exactly good at making friends, but Craft Week is one of the members of the Volume DAO. He's one of the members who introduced me to Volume DAO. He's a university professor. He's also the instrument artist. He told me an interesting story. At one time, I asked him why he is teaching at a university, and he said that in the future, I may be able to meet friends who can be my collaborator in the future. So that reminded me of the importance of sharing. So let me now talk about next topic is exhibitions, art and collaboration. Back in 2021, we had exhibition. This is a photo from that exhibition. AI was not exactly a hot topic back then, but we were actually leading the AI time. We actually displayed AI-based creative works. This was not exactly popular, but then after a year or so, AI became a popular work. This is generative type A on site. If you use the QR code on the right-hand side, you can scan this to be able to access to 3D exhibitions back then. And of course, we would like to share this PDF with you. You can still use that PDF to use that QR code to access the site. So we decided to use generative art as the theme, and this was the Taiwan Museum's very first exhibition constituted of NFTs. There were 6 different themes. 3 artists participated, and recursive is the concept for the exhibition. Another thing is a shift, and interaction is another theme. And a very famous artist made Matt. Matt is a friend. We asked him to coordinate our exhibition. His art has been brought to Taiwan for the exhibition as well. Matt displayed this work in other countries as well. So it's a room. In the Taiwan Museum, we decided to reproduce this room for exhibition. And it's not just his artwork. He has brought peripheral works. And Aluan 1 also had his artworks displayed, 3 of these works, and 2 other works based on AI. We had so many members. And let me now talk about how we are going to go about curation. So let me go through this quickly. There's an online artist who participated in the exhibition. I'd like to show you his work. And interactivity is the theme of the exhibition here. A very important experiment is done. So we decided that the visitors must be there physically to be able to make a purchase of this NFT. So there is a sensor there that actually detects the smartphone that enables the visitor to make a purchase. Another member, New Yellow, his art, creative art, using the parameters, the visitors can actually use her or his own smartphone to enrich their experiences. And also there is a collaboration work among the 4 artists. Recursive is a theme that comes up frequently in urban areas. And we actually use that common concept for the collaboration that involved more than 10 artists. And these 4 members were able to convert a traditional work into a digital artwork. We actually had a discussion on that. This is the traditional museum. Practice works were displayed. The crafts were displayed there. And when decided to convert one of these crafts into a digital work, using this type of digital expression, we may be able to have many people understand what is a generative art. And this is the embroidery, the physical craft. And then a new interpretation digitally is displayed on the right-hand side. The way we displayed that, we have large screen on the left-hand side. And we actually showed the coding process. For the visitor, it's not made of AI. It is made by writing codes. I'd like to show you a special work. In the beginning, my colleague You-Sheng Zhang said, there are visually impaired people, or physically impaired people, they could be our audience as well. So we have this non-visual guidance for them. These are palpable marks. You can actually touch the height differences. Utilizing these physical materials, we will be able to have visually impaired people to understand the topic of recursive. Another example here. We created a device to introduce an artist's work. How this device works. To teach the visually impaired how this works, we utilize a zipper. A zipper can be opened, so you can actually touch it and feel the zipper opening. I can see I have visual ability, but when I experience this, I close my eyes, try not to see, and then what you would do is to cut clothes into triangle pieces, and then you can actually touch each one of these pieces to understand the shape. And they were introduced into Mate's display room, and we were there too. Either one of us actually put on dark glasses so that we know how it feels for visually impaired. And Mate explained how this is made when the red color is flowing from top to bottom and the square shapes are distributed. And people who do not see can actually try to understand the art by listening. This is a very good practice for those who can see. You usually do not explain what you see. You are not used to explaining in details about what you see to the people who do not see. And lastly, I just want to talk about to make display easy to read. We create diagrams like this, pictures like this. Those who have intellectual disabilities may be able to understand what the generative art is. Now I would like to give the microphone back to Mr. You-Sheng Zhang.
Keynote speech.
So next, this is going to be the last leg of today's keynote lecture. And this is continuously talking about the exhibition that we have been mentioning about in April, May this year. This was a Taipei, generative Taipei on-site exhibition was the name of the exhibition. In this exhibition, other than the exhibition, there were forums held, and Matt visited Taiwan and talked about the creation. Aluan Iwan Lin has also participated, and they had discussions together. And many people came, however, they are not within the photographs. And this one, Kana designed, and the website has been worked by this person indicated. There were 2 people in charge of design and website, and there are other people taking the role. So we've been expanding into the area otherwise than the art. This is the work for HyperCert. This is to give out some certifications for validation. For instance, during our way of work together, what efforts were made, what initiatives were taken, and according to the work and initiatives, NFT will be issued. So how many labor, how many time they worked on the initiatives, it's not only a record of that, but what impact this work have had for the world, the real world, is validated by this hypercert. So all the staffs that have been participating engaged for Volume DAO has been certified and issued such hypercert. TZ APAC. TZ APAC. And so with the support of TZ APAC, we were able to exhibit this generative type A on site for the first time. So at a museum, all the piece and artwork is exhibited were coming from the NFT, from the blockchain. And we're expanding in various areas otherwise than the art. Mash Ving, who is one of our members, and within the Fab DAO, he has his own DAO. And I too cooperated with him to help his collection. DAO. So DAO, DAO 0. Indicated here, and O has a scar. So it's a scar, looking like a scar given from a cat. And this is a well-known, prominent organization in Taiwan, G0V. Maybe you might know about this organization. And DAO is one of the projects of G0V. This is my own DAO, meaning that within Volume DAO, and maintaining our existence within Volume DAO, within the sub-DAO, we have our own DAOs too. So we can have a recurrent role within the DAO. So once you understand the technology of the DAOs, you will be able to participate in various organizations. So my impression taking part in various organizations is that rather than creation of art, it is something else. So in actuality, not everybody can perform on the coding just like the eziraros. You cannot create a jellyfish artwork like him easily. However, most of the people membership has a good communication and they can have a good teamwork. By operating ourselves, they get to know well and get skilled about the organization. And this is the area where many artists are not so good at. So eziraros just mentioned about how difficult it is to maintain human relations. However, by exhibiting our artwork on the platform and having the artwork enjoyed by others, we need to work and put our energies well into the platform. For instance, even for this camp alone, many staffs have been cooperating with us, and then it will be realized. So it's not that we can just exhibit because we have one art piece. And it's very important to follow up with after the art has been performed or created. Now I would like to go into art and beyond. And as I explained, beyond is about collaboration. In Volume DAO, we are now underway for our search of where we are heading for. So I am a member of another organization too, to gain experiences and to learn. The collaboration is letting us create a various experience. However, within an organization, there could be some quarrels that could split us up. We need to overcome various issues. So when we talk about collaboration, it is not easy. The difficulties of collaboration is coding, art, production. Compared to coding and art production, collaboration is not an easy thing. However, most people do not know that by sight. So once again, let me refrain. Whatever the art piece is, in order to exhibit and have people enjoy, we need a huge effort of the staff. For instance, today's event, just taking that as a case, we need collaboration and cooperation by many. For instance, Koike-san or other staffs. Every personnel has their own offices, therefore I think they understand what I mean. So what I mean to say is that once we announce about an art piece and in order to exhibit, we need to cooperate. Everybody has different speed and space, and their styles are all different. But we need to collaborate. Let's say I'm a person who wants to hurry up and have everything done. However, there could be other type of artists who would like to be much more liking ways in a slowed down manner. And I get the cooperation of such personnel too. And within the short term and the limited time, we must coordinate and adjust each other. That's also a difficult thing to do too. And in tomorrow's workshop, you're going to be performing interaction on Web3 tomorrow. For instance, a signature wallet. Many people need to sign for the wallet. And in order to create such wallet, we need collaboration. So yesterday, today, throughout the keynote lecture, I think there was a lecture on token. And tomorrow we will also discuss on the collaboration. We're still on the way of learning ourselves too. So maybe I just said lecture, but I don't know how much in depth we can provide you, but we would like to provide you as much as possible, and we also expect your feedback too. Lastly, what driven us to come over to Japan? It was in May this year, and it was a Taiwan exhibition, but that exhibition was taking time at Shibuya Daikanyama and the former Asakura. In those areas too, the exhibition was held too. And during the exhibition, I met Takai-san, Vol.2, many members of the Vol.2. So referring to this photograph, other than Takao-san, everybody else otherwise in Takao-san are all members of Vol.2. And there was an opportunity for us to see Takao-san's piece, and we're all collectors of Takao-san's piece too. Many of our members collect Takao-san's art piece too, and he always performed coding every day almost. So we, along with Takao-san, discuss about art and various things. And we thought we could have a place to discuss with Takao-san on those topics.
So this is really the reason why we met Takao-san and all of you. It was on 7th LTY, R1 and Jinyao. Some of these artists came to Shibuya. They have brought their own artwork. Many collectors were there to exchange with artists. This is cryptos hunks. So the faces are actually hidden. We had a wonderful talk with these collectors. What I thought about this was that many Western artists are very active in Japan, and we thought maybe we could come here. So the members of the Volume DAO will stay in touch with Takao-san. We have had Google Meet online meeting between Japan and Taiwan, and eventually the countries in East Asia can be involved in the future collaboration. We talked about this possibility a lot. The story based on our own history can be shared through our art. So I am looking forward to the future development. Thank you so much. And we would like to have active discussion. So You-Sheng and eziraros, thank you very much for valuable presentation. Thank you for referring to me. So I'd like to invite Mr. Ito, a technical director, so that we can open the floor for questions. So honestly speaking, the Volume DAO, which is not exactly a large DAO, you have very active communication internally, and you have organized exhibitions, like you explained. And this is unprecedented in Japan or in Asia. This is a new way of showing generative art. This has been a very pleasant surprise to us. So if I could start out by asking you a question. You chose a form of DAO to start your activities. In order to drive yourself, you have to have fuel. It could be your passion, it could be financial capital. So how do you try to sustain your active level? Have you encountered any challenges? Thank you for that question, Takao-san. This is very important and very difficult question. There are two approaches to answer that. One is passion. The other one is resources, so financial resources mainly. So there are two sides to this. Having both of them is very difficult, especially last year, as you know, NFTs was stalled. There was stagnancy in that market, and that actually impacted our group. Having said that, the members of our group are not traders, they are artists. So the market was slow. Even when the market was stagnated, we artists talked about our artwork every day. So they already have their passion. Passion belongs to them. They will be able to keep that inside forever. Other than the passion, Other than discussing artwork in Volume DAO, we do discuss many other topics. We talk about what we eat every day, or it could be about the choice of your clothes. Or if they are parents, they are showing the photos of their children, photos of their animal pets. So Volume DAO is really a place of gathering. They come together in the morning, and we would say to each other, good morning. They talk about which restaurant is good, how they serve wonderful meals, and they show photos. And we often talk about political issues as well. So we talk a lot of different things every day. It's not just art that we talk about. We talk about all kinds of different topics. When the passion was not so large, there are other reasons to keep them inside. And also non-Taiwanese artists are releasing their artwork, beautiful art. When the market is opened, I believe the passion is going to increase, more intensive. Even when the passion is weakened, it is even more important to be connected. So you should be focusing on how you are connected to others. Now, the resources, I'm still studying about this, but I would like to just give you an example of how to operate our group. As I said earlier, there is, say, artist A, and there is artist B. Say, for me, LTY, one of the members that I was introduced by, we could apply for financial support from Taiwanese government. And the financial capital we received can be spent for organizing exhibitions. In Taipei, CCAPAC is also another funding source. In other words, some of the members know how to get resources. What are the financial sources? It could be a private company, how you would apply. Some of them know about that. Not based on existing business model, they could approach government, they could approach a fund. If we are to adopt the marketing approach, we would spend more time discussing how to do this and try to involve as many people as possible so that we can narrow down our choices. We are trying to discuss how to market the artwork we have right now. I cannot represent the total Volume DAO organization. I'm not running this organization, but as a creator, I would like to explain how possibly you can sustain your passion level. I have another job, and pressure may increase, mounting. When the pressure is at the highest, I want to create. I want to ask Takao-san, for a long time you've been coding every day. How could it be possible? It's unbelievable. Thank you very much for that question. There are highs and lows every day. Sometimes you're busy, sometimes you're not busy. So mentally, it's not stable. And this instability hurt me in the beginning. I just want it to be stable, writing programs. I just want to feel at peace. On the other hand, this instability, highs and lows, something that could be the source of my coding. Sometimes I'm pretty busy, have no time, but if you keep writing codes and you see the code will be increasing and you see my life there. It's a gradient of my work, my life. It's also one way of expressing myself. So that actually encourages me to go on coding. I hope I answered your question. I'm pretty sure you're busy with CCBT as well, but you try to always find time to keep uploading your work. Yes, trying to find time, writing code is something that I like to do. Even when I prepare for this camp, I am writing code. So Ito-san, I'd like to invite you to ask a question as well. Yes, thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. What should I say? Honestly, I envy you. It's a very good organization where mutually artists inspire each other, and that's really something that I envy. Now, what I like to ask is that, as Takao-san just said, what you do to sustain your team. So in terms of team collaboration, to continue with that collaboration, this system called DAO, how is it helping? Even without DAO, to a certain extent, you can collaborate because of that you are having this DAO. What are the things that are made possible, which used to be not possible?
So I would like to share with you several cases in 2022. I think it was in October that year, so it was last year. Shudong-san at the University of Arts in Taiwan. And at that time, in Taiwan, there was a dual exhibition in Taiwan of the Shudong University. But people were very busy, therefore we were not able to help him. However, for Judo-san had his own resources, therefore he was able to go through, and curator and curation. He included our name, Volume DAO, meaning it was a DAO type curation system. So when we want to do something, we find partners and resources, and we have some collaborators, we can go on. And if there's no resources within Volume DAO, then we can search for another resources. And ultimately, the topic, whether we have to make a judgment whether there's a relation with Volume DAO, and he has been sharing the piece with Volume DAO. And so the main worker was Shudong, and we almost did not was able to support him. However, this was a case not using the resources within the Volume DAO, and government DAO. And I think this way of mechanism is very similar with the GOV, the government side, meaning the fund or the resources, when it is limited, this is the methodology that they worked on. And when I was working on a project, Even when volume down personnel were not able to help me out, I take the same methodology, and I hope I'm answering your question. So now we are open for questions from the floor. And by that way, we would like to perform our discussion. Any feedback? It could be what you thought when you heard the lecture. It could be questions as well. Thank you very much for sharing your valuable story. You just mentioned that within the volume down, whether it be good or bad, in order to increase the number of comments and interaction, you started giving out point, and that was very inspiring. And when you talked about getting inspiration about the toy, generative toy, from the comment from and minted, what I minted. That was a comment you were inspired by, and after that, you have been making a creation. So it could be a very small, subtle comment, but then sometimes it could lead to a valuable activity. And how are you going to be adding on the trust? And within the community, let's say if you have a very deep relationship, good relationship, sometimes you can say that I will add and pay to you later on, or maybe you can have a higher payment based on your relations. But I wanted to ask you about how are you going to be valuing these activities? So you're talking and questioning about the ongoing of the shape study. Is that so? So I was inspired to create an art piece, and you were talking about how I evaluate this. Was that so? And what I can do is fairly small, but I upload the art piece, and when I upload the art piece, in order for the people who have been uploading the idea can purchase, I make it so that people will be able to garner a piece. Other than that, I have no other rules, and I would like to add some information to that. So this question is about or related to other organizations too, or other people. So let's say the idea has been generated from another person, and using their idea, I upload to a platform. And when this idea or art is publicized, then it has to be criticized or confirmed or evaluated. But we are not a market. We are a community based on trust. So we are, again, not a market, but a community. The Volume DAO is not an open type community, but we mutually share idea, and after that, the profit. We are not that mindful about the profit that follows. That's the public nature of the community. So when we ideate, and when we think that it is something to share within our community, we think that it is shareable. If we give some interest to that, then it will make things complicated, like what happens if people garner rights or patent, then how are we going to be dividing our profit? That's going to be complicated. For instance, smart contract, we do need that. But within one organization, it's not that we use tools for everything. So meaning that Volume DAO is based on the philosophy of trust. Thank you very much for your answer.
But yeah, can I speak in English? I mean, because when I'm abroad, I sing in English, so it's better to use English. I just want to echo a little bit about the previous question from Ido-san and Takao-san. Once I read something from an article about like the function of the museum or the gallery of the how to show art in the public. So there was a sentence that made me feel very interested. It says like, art is a very rare thing. It has more value when you share with others. It generates more value when you share. And sometimes, especially in Vol.2, when I meet all these friends and people, I also feel the same with all the resources that we have. Because maybe we are not the most like money-grabbing DAO. We don't really collect, like we don't really good at collecting like mega resources from outside. But I feel that if you are able to share your resources with others in DAO, when you put a resource in DAO in the public, actually it generates more value than itself. For example, if let's say you have 100 yen, if you want to buy something, you just buy it. Whatever the reason, right? You like it and you buy it. But if you put 100 yen in a DAO, you have to negotiate with others, you have to discuss with others how to spend this 100 yen wisely. Like, where should we put for these resources? Which area we should touch it. So the 100 yen is still 100 yen. But through this process, actually it generates more value when you spend it with others. So that's how I see, and maybe the way I can echo a bit of the question, that for Vol.2, I mean, we are not, I mean, of course, we are still learning like to get the resource from outside, but from within, we're also practicing how to make our own resource even more valuable than we can imagine now. So that's just a little bit that I want to add. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. There's another question there. Thank you for your talk. So first, there is something that I'm not certain of. In Japan, I just wonder whether there is similar organization, art-related DAOs. Do you know, Takao-san? Well, of course, there are DAOs in Japan, and art collecting DAOs that is made of artists providing educational programs to artists. On the other hand, DAO, like Volume DAO, artists and collectors gather together, all the people who are related to art, planning an exhibition, or collaborating with art museums to display art. That sort of attempt has never been seen in Japan. So look at NFTs, for example. There may be an organization that is very active in a specific area like NFT. That is why we invited Volume DAO today. Yes, that made me interested in Volume DAO as I listened to the presentation today. So there are many other art-related DAOs in Taiwan. 2015 to 2017, I was in Taiwan as an artist. I participated in art fair in Taiwan. So it's a comparison with Japan. If you look at the population size, the size of the land, Japan is much bigger than Taiwan. I believe that 5 times the population we have in Japan. The biggest art fair in Taiwan and the biggest art fair in Japan are similar sizes in terms of the number of visitors. So when I was in Taiwan, I noticed Taiwan's art market was growing. And each city is actually organizing art fair. Maybe the situation changed because of the COVID-19, but the art-loving people are there, and I think that's really the basis. And it's a great pleasure to be able to discover that in Taiwan. I just wanted to share that with you. So is that correct? The art of love, do you think this is the main driver? We talked about the driver early on. So You-Sheng-san and eziraros? Yes, in Taiwan, there are a lot of people who love art. Loving art and living like artists are 2 different things. So it's not easy. Becoming an artist is not easy even in Taiwan. As far as I know, for example, I talked about the artworks. The major topic of this camp is art and how it's related to blockchain. So look up blockchain in Taiwan. Blockchain is growing. And as far as I know, in Japan as well, on a government level, the government is actually promoting policy. For example, Liberal Democratic Party introduced a white paper on that. Many organizations are very active in adopting that as well. In Taiwan, the head of digital development says that there is a focus placed on it. Blockchain, encrypted currency, cryptocurrencies. In these areas, Taiwan is taking a path that is different from other Eastern Asian countries. In Japan, virtual exchanges are now restricted and regulated. This is different from Taiwan. FTX is the exchange that went bankrupt. And after that, a lot of people lost their capital. It was a disaster. But in Japan, to a certain extent, there will be a degree of guarantee. But the situation is different. So there is a lot that Taiwan can learn from Japan as well. Thank you. Now, are there other questions from this audience? Your feedback, opinions are also welcome. Early on, you said that DAO is hard to understand. And we don't know whether we have similar DAOs in Japan. And I was talking to Ito-san early on. We saw a photo of Takao-san there, in the middle of the photo of all the members of Volume DAO. He was young there. But rather than trying to understand DAO is really what Takao-san is doing. So that is something that you live for, even for Takao-san. So you physically or spiritually, mentally rely on it. It's the evidence of you living here. I listened to the presentation of Volume DAO, and from the visual perspective, there was the embroidery, a craft that was used as a digital work. There have been weaving equipment, so clothes or embroidery, these can be good NFTs. I think Japan should explore our own unique way of developing NFTs in Japan. And possibly we can find the commonality where we can be connected, jointed. So I think using NFTs, we will be able to add values on what has been traditionally pursued. And this could be an explosive opportunity because we, Japan, have been dormant for close to 30 years. I came here as part of my action to try to understand what could be the source of next explosive growth. The humanity, memories can be crafted, and what comes out of that craft is something that I am very interested in. So that's my observation. Well, may I try to answer? I like to invite others to join in, but would you like to answer first? Hello again, and thank you for that question. What came to my mind early on was that Takao-san talked about the driver early on. As a creative artist in Taiwan, I am a member of a very core group. What I have created is so little, but I am committed to make this community a better place to nurture generative artists. And how can we provide a better environment for artists to generate their art, to become generative artists? So that is the direction that I placed the biggest emphasis on. As I said earlier, curation is going to be critical. In what way we can introduce art into ordinary people? It should be intuitive, it should be instantly interesting. Digital lighting embroidery is a very good way in that sense, because the ordinary people are encouraged. They can be interested in this art to create a new form of art.
最后补充一点点。
I would like to add my last comment because time already ran out. So as you mentioned, embroidery comes from the minor rays, the meows from China that we exhibited, and from the patternized embroidery pattern we find some rule and digitalized. That was how it was made. And so this is a dialogue between virtual and physicality. And those working on blockchain, there's two types. Those people who don't want to go into the realm boundary of real, And their idea is that they have to be on top of Web 3. But Web 2.5 could be used for several art workers too, meaning that they are thinking that real and the virtual world should have much more interaction. So the embroidery of the Miao tribes that I mentioned and what you have been mentioning, the interaction could be shown on the screen and to be enjoyed. That's the dialogue between the real world and the virtual world. Thank you very much. So lastly, I would like to say about Japanese culture and textile. That could be something that we can employ it on, and that's inspiring. I myself is going and having a project visiting a company working for the traditional textile, a kimono textile company, and for the weaving, that's based probably on the computation, and a jacquard weaving device is a weaving to create the patterns of the textiles. So computers and coding, they're having a good assimilation. In that sense, thinking about textile and weaving could be done. And not just doing it myself, but along with you and everybody else who works on coding, I would like to work on with the project. And now I think we have come to the end time. I suppose we were able to hear various information, but anyhow, the Keynote Lecture03, The Art and Beyond the Dynamics of Volume DAO, would be now closed. And first of all, a big round of applause to the presenters, You-Sheng, Zhang, and eziraros. Thank you so much. And from here on, there's some information to be shared from the CCBT. This is the third keynote lecture, and the fourth keynote will be happening on 29th of August from 7:30 to 9 o'clock p.m. in Japan. And the speaker will be Tasuku Mizuno, who is an attorney and lawyer. This is going to be an valuable opportunity, and if you have interest, please come over, visit us through YouTube live stream. We have continuous keynote lectures, and the CCBT is performing on the workshop, and starting August 31st to September 4th. Here at the CCBT, we are to exhibit the outcome of the workshop, which is the camp workshop. This is going to be a derivative of what the result of the participants would be. And if you have interest, please come over and enjoy. And with this, we would like to close for the day. Thank you so much for your participation.